Hello everybody. Thank you for joining me for part 2 of your weekend love reading for the weekend of February 21st to February 23rd, 2020. If you haven't seen the first part, I will link that in the description below. You can find it on my page, and I should have a card popping up in the corner. So the first part was Aries through Virgo. And yeah, so this can apply to, I should have mentioned this in the first part, but I forgot. But this can apply to any aspect of your chart. So if you do look up your chart, you can go to I like to use Astro Theme, or you can go to astro.com. All you really need is your birth time, your birthplace, and your birth date. And you can essentially look up your natal chart, and it'll show you where each of these signs falls in your chart. Even if you don't have that placement, we do have, it will be in a specific house within your natal chart. So we all contain the energies of all the signs. I'm not judging you if you're cross-watching, do you. I'm not going to judge. I do that sometimes as well. But, yeah, so if the reading doesn't fit, don't force it. Time and energy are fluid. This can apply to you at any time you watch it. You know what I mean? If a message resonates a year from now, then that message was meant for you. But again, try not to force it, because that can often create situations in our head that don't really exist. So only take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But that said, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. I am using the Dragon Tarot deck and the Mystical Cat Tarot deck for this reading this week. Alright, so I implore you to take a deep breath so we may connect with ourselves, our higher selves, in spirit. Excuse me. Call out to spirit to please help myself, the collective, and anybody watching this to see, hear, and know whatever we need to see, hear, and know for the week end of February 21st to February 23rd, 2020. So, hello Libra. I hope you're doing well. Keep in mind this can apply to any aspect of your chart. I implore you to have your chart open while you do this, while you watch this reading. If a message doesn't resonate, do not force it. But let's see what Spirit has in store for you in love for the weekend of 21st to the 23rd, February 2020. One last shuffle. Cut the deck. Okay. We have the Nine of Wands reverse, Nine of Pentacles reverse, and 10 of Wands reverse. And then we actually have a full at the bottom of the deck. So I think initially what Spirit's telling me is I'm being drawn to the Fool. And it's almost as if the Fool has all of these energies in the knapsack up here, right? And so I'm getting the message of make sure you take all of the lessons learned and don't forget them as you're moving forward into new relationships. If you're talking to somebody new, I'm kind of getting the message don't repeat the same mistakes. And I think that's indicated by the Nine of Wands reversed, moving to the 10 of Wands reversed with the 9 of Pentacles reversed in between. And so what I'm getting here, it's essentially kind of telling you to not to curb your codependence. You know what I mean? I think codependence can become very unhealthy. I think it's okay to need people to an extent, you know what I mean? But if you become reliant on somebody, whether it's financially, whether it's emotionally, that usually ends up leading to a place of heartbreak or a place of disappointment, and causes conflict not only within that relationship but within all other aspects of our life. So I think the main message to you right now is really just don't be foolish. You know what I mean? Recognize when you're starting to become codependent, and if that's the case, don't be afraid to ask this person for space. Don't be afraid to tell this person that you may be feeling a certain way. I think it's important to let people know, what you do struggle with and what your weak points are in relationships, so that way you can work together with this person and ensure that both of you remain balanced and healthy within the connection. So we're going to go ahead and clarify these with the Cat Tarot deck. Two shuffles. Okay. Five of Pentacles reversed. Earth Tom, which I believe is the Knight of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles with the Earth Queen. Oops, I didn't mean to do that, but here we go. I was going to take the bottom of the deck, but I accidentally pulled that. But I guess that is actually pretty fitting. So I think what the main message I'm getting here, and I'm actually being drawn to the Earth Queen right here. I'm being drawn to the fact that there are some purple flowers in the background. It looks like we have roses. I believe those might be tulips that are not blossomed yet, and then we have lavender on the bottom. And so I think the main message with this card, just even aside from all these cards, is essentially like using your intuitive abilities to recognize when something is becoming unbalanced in a relationship, to recognize when you or the other person is becoming codependent, as we talked about up here, and to like kind of rely on yourself in the sense of make sure you're giving from a place of like fullness, and you're not trying to go against your own intuition, trying to give to somebody when you don't have enough for yourself in that sense. And I think what I'm getting here with the Five of Pentacles reversed, and we do have the Six of Pentacles reversed, and so I think right off the bat, five of Pentacles upright often indicates like a stagnation, or maybe being felt like you're being left out in the cold in a relationship. But given it is in the reverse, I think what this is saying here is the way to avoid... Oh wait, okay. Spirit's telling me that you may have been in situations that essentially where you were kind of getting to know somebody, things seemed to be going well, and then they just like ghosted you, pretty much is what I'm being told. It's like they just kind of like ghosted you, they just like walked away, they stopped talking to you as much. And I think a lot of that, what Spirit is telling me is like, because you need to learn to recognize when things become unbalanced before they get to that point. So whether that's with you or this other person, that's kind of recognizing like, okay, is this actually a reciprocal relationship? And if it's not, where is that going to lead? Because I mean, I bet you more than anything, past relationships and seeing where they have gone often have little moments here and there that you can pinpoint where things took a turning point, or certain aspects that you can recognize led to things going that way. And so I think the main message right now is just make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're learning the lessons of your past, and if you do see some red flags, if you do notice a relationship is not reciprocal, it's not balanced, shift your energy, shift the way you interact with this person. Like, if this person isn't going to show up for you the way you're showing up for them, then show up for yourself and don't rely on them to show up for you. But that does conclude your reading for this weekend. I love you so much, Libra. Take care. See you soon. Hello, Scorpio. Hope you're doing well. Keep in mind that this reading can apply to any aspect of your chart. For instance, I have a Scorpio moon, midheaven, and Pluto. So I could apply this to any aspect of my chart, including the any placement in my chart, including the aspects those placements have to any other placements. So I do implore you to have your chart open while we do this reading. But in the meantime, let's see what Spirit has for you for the weekend, 21st to the 23rd in love 2020. Two of Pentacles, Five of Wands reversed, Eight of Swords. Okay. So I'm being told that the reason you feel like you're stuck in between a difficult decision is because you're like, it's almost like you're playing false scenarios in your head. And so it's like you're overthinking a situation so much to the point where you're literally not even seeing it clearly, because you keep worrying about if something goes wrong or if something goes this way. And it's almost this energy of like once things are going good, you almost feel like something has to go wrong because that's what's happened in the past. what Spirit is telling me is that is just not the case. That is really just not the case. You do deserve to be in a relationship that is not going to go the same route, so long as you stay conscious of your thoughts and recognize when you're repeating the same thought patterns, and oftentimes those are tied to our past traumas. Recognize when that is happening in order to put a stop to the illusions that are in the mind. So I'm being told that you're not trapped. You're not trapped in the relationship, and it's not what it seems because you're trapped in your head. So let's clarify this, and we'll see how we can get you out of your head for this weekend. Okay, we have Two of Pentacles again. Clarifying the Two of Pentacles, we do have the Seven of Pentacles reversed and the Queen of Wands reversed. Now, this is sticking out to me. The High Priestess coming out to me indicates that there are things being hidden from me for a reason, and that is to help you trust your own intuition and to stop relying so much on essentially any external guidance. And so if you're somebody who tends to get caught up in synchronicities, angel numbers, little things like that, any type of synchronicity, I think there is a fine line, especially from what I've experienced, that you will tend to see synchronicities because you want to see synchronicities. That doesn't mean synchronicities don't have some type of value to an extent, but I feel like when we're in this state of overthinking so much, we're going to start to see things that aren't actually there because we're focusing on it so much. So that kind of goes back to this Eight of Swords. The High Priestess is trying to get you to see the fact that the reason things don't seem to be moving forward in the way you want them to is because you're looking at it in a way that is projecting your past and your pain onto the situation. And this actually does seem like a continuation of the reading of Scorpio from last weekend. So if you do want to watch that, you can find that on my page. It was part 2 for the weekend of February, what was it, 17th? No, I'm sorry, 14th to the 16th. But essentially the energy was very, very similar of getting out of your head and into your heart. I believe Libra got this last week too, a very similar energy. So yeah, really just like recognize when you're starting to overthink, put a stop to it before it kind of spirals out of control, and don't let that stop you from like loving somebody. Like if you have something good going for you and you have a good relationship going for you with somebody, even if it's in the beginning stages, and don't let past failures impact the quality in which you give to somebody. Like you don't have to give your entire soul to somebody, but like if you're holding back from giving somebody love because you're just afraid that they're like somebody else when you have no other indications other than your own mind, and you're not actually seeing any physical evidence of anything, it's just you creating scenarios, then that's when you need to take a look at yourself before you make rash decisions. But that does conclude your reading for the weekend, Scorpio. I love you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Oops, and I will see you next time. Hello, Sagittarius. I hope you're doing well. We are going to delve into this reading for you for the weekend of February 21st to the 23rd, 2020. Keep in mind that this reading can resonate with any aspect of your chart. I do implore you to have your chart open while we do this reading. You can go to any free natal chart site and put your time, date, and place, and you'll be able to get every aspect of your chart, every placement, every house. Given you don't have any Gemini placements, or if you're cross-watching, this can actually apply to you as well. I know oftentimes the cross-watching messages, they do often have messages for you. So let's go ahead and chop the deck and get right into it, see what Spirit has in store for you for love for the weekend of 21st to the 23rd, 2020. So we have the Eight of Cups reverse. Sorry, the font's a little bit hard to read from here. It's like that old English font kind of. So when it's upside down, I should obviously look at the cups, but anyways, Strength reversed and Six of Wands reversed. And actually this is sticking out to me, Chariot at the bottom of the deck. Eight of Cups reversed has been coming out a lot for a lot of different signs. What I'm being told right now is you need to make sure you're in control of yourself. When things in your life seem to be falling apart, when relationships have a lot of, discord or conflict in them, it's easy to lose ourselves in the conflict. It's easy to lose ourselves in the emotional, and just in the emotional nature of various things that are going on. Whether you're fighting with somebody, whether you're taking a break from somebody, it can be really, really easy to get down on the situation. I'm not one to promote like toxic positivity and say like, oh, like only good vibes, like you have to be happy all the time. Like, nah, like for sure, like acknowledge the negative aspects of your situation. But what I'm seeing here with this Chariot is essentially learn to find a balance between those. So for as much, negative aspects you're seeing in this situation, make sure you're balancing it out with like focusing on positive aspects of your life. And so if this relationship isn't in the best of states right now, which I'm kind of seeing here with the Eight of Cups reversed and the Strength in reverse, as well as the Six of Wands reversed, representing a lack of balance right now. Essentially what I'm being told is you need to find that balance within yourself in order to not let this imbalance take you off balance. I know it's a lot of balances within the same sentence, but I think the message is pretty clear there. So we're going to clarify with the Cat deck and see what Spirit has for you to help you remain in balance and help kind of take your mind off of this. I do feel like everybody deserves a break in any type of conflict, and you shouldn't be afraid to tell somebody, if they're trying to like continually have the same conversation and trying to argue with you about something, don't be afraid to let them know, like, I'm not in the right headspace to have this conversation. I would like some time to process this so I can come at this in a headspace of, like a balanced space in which you can come forward and have a healthy conversation. So one more shuffle for you. Okay, we have the Eight of Pentacles, the Sun in reverse, which is interesting because that is actually what was under the Chariot. And I pulled that out in the Ace of Pentacles and the Tower reverse at the bottom of this deck. Yeah. So what I'm being shown is you essentially need to, if something is coming to an end, you need to move forward with your life. You need to move forward and focus on building, I wouldn't say, I guess like career, but more so I'm getting the feeling of finding that internal state of foundational energy and letting this Tower clear away anything that needs to be cleared away. In the Sun in reverse with the Ace of Pentacles, what seems difficult at first is oftentimes a blessing in disguise. If you think back to past situations you've been in, things that haven't worked out for you, it's led you to some beautiful paths. And obviously it was difficult at first, but oftentimes the difficulties in our lives will lead us to beautiful places. And I think that's the main takeaway, is just trust the fact that, like, if this is not working out, if things are difficult right now, that will shift. That is something that takes time. But the energy is essentially, what the Eight of Pentacles is telling me, like, right now is a good time to move forward. Not move forward, but move past anything that is kind of cyclical within arguments, particularly. Like, and try to refrain from just, like, throwing daggers at each other, you know what I mean? Refrain from just, like, throwing petty insults or doing petty things. It's just going to make it worse for the both of you. So let what is falling away fall away, focus on what isn't, and continue to build your life in a sense that makes you not reliant on this relationship or person doing well. Because most relationships are bound to have ups and downs. You got to learn to flow with that, as with all things in life. I love you so much, Sagittarius. That does conclude your section of the reading. And if you will excuse me, I am going to take a quick sip of coffee. Okay. Hello, Capricorn. I hope you're doing well. Keep in mind that this love reading for the week of February 21st to the 23rd, 2020 can apply to any aspect of your chart. I implore you to have your chart open as you watch this reading. Keep in mind, if you do not have a Capricorn placement, or you are a cross-watcher, you do have the Capricorn energy in your chart, as it will be in one of your houses. So, let's see what Spirit... Oh, I didn't even pull any cards, and we got the Lovers at the bottom of the deck. Let's keep that one out. Alright, what have we got? We have Nine of Pentacles reverse, we got the Nine of Wands reverse, and we got the Sun in reverse. Wow, so this is interesting because it's Uh-oh. I'm not even gonna... We'll pull some more cards and we'll see if this is what I think it is. But before I even say anything, I think right now this is talking about a relationship in which things may not seem to be moving forward. Things may seem like they're at a standstill. What's indicated to me here by the Nine of Pentacles and the Nine of Wands in reverse is there may be a sense of selfishness right now, but only because acting out of selfishness is going to make things worse. And so if there is space between you and another person right now, I think that's best. And that's happening in order to get you to a place of maturity. So that way, if you do come back and try to work things out with this person, or if they come back to you, it's not going to be from the same space it was, and it won't lead to the same place you're in now. So let's go ahead and clarify these real quick. Okay. Dude, Spirit's telling me 3 shuffles for this one. Ooh, I saw the 2 of Cups right there. Okay, got the deck and see what we got. Death in reversed. Ace of Swords. Good kitty. And High Priestess in reverse. We'll take that. So, Spirit's telling me that you are seeing things clearly. What I'm being told is... Okay, I'm being shown a couple different things right here, so I'm going to start with what I saw first. We do have the High Priestess in reverse and the Ace of Swords. What that tells me, especially, okay, first of all, when the High Priestess is in reverse, that is telling me that the veil has been lifted and you're seeing things for how they are. Given we do have the Ace of Swords in the upright, that is essentially telling me that you are seeing things clearly. Excuse the beeping car. It's kind of busy over here sometimes, so yeah, excuse that. I hope that's not too distracting for you. I think it's like a truck backing up or something. But anyways, so what we do have here is essentially saying that you are seeing things clearly in this relationship. Death in the reverse is telling me that it is not over in the way you think it is over. It is merely transforming. It's transforming into something healthier, both for you and the other person. Actually, sorry, I think that's a truck. There it goes. There's a trash truck right outside my window. Bye, trash truck. Anyways, excuse me. So with the good kitty here, to me this card indicates, I actually don't even know if this pertains to any deck and any card in the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, which is why I like this deck, is they have their own special cards. But what I'm feeling with this card right now is like, you've kind of followed the guidance. You know, you were listening to your intuition. You were doing what was best for you. You weren't going about this in a way that was unhealthy or petty. You kind of let go of the pettiness. You let go of the fighting. You let go of the unnecessary conflict. You went inside. You figured out what was going on, and now you're getting to a place of wanting to move forward in a healthy way. But that also takes time, and realize that you can do that at your own pace. That's a beautiful message for you, Capricorn, but that does conclude your section of the reading. I love you so much. Okay. Oops. Oh no. Hello, Aquarius. So keep in mind that this reading can apply to any aspect of your chart. I do implore you to have your chart open while we do this reading. If you do not have an Aquarian placement or you are a cross watcher, you will have Aquarius in a house within your natal chart. So I do advise you to look that up and see how that might apply. If a message can still apply even if you don't have a placement, or if you're cross watching, the message might actually be for you. So, Aquarius, what do we got for you for the weekend of February 21st to 23rd, 2020? 3 of Wands, Wheel of Fortune in reverse, the Hermit in reverse, and I did see the Judgment at the bottom of the deck. So what I'm being told is you've been beating yourself up long enough. And not everything is always your fault. And you don't have to like be so hard on yourself. And I think what I'm being shown here, particularly with the Wheel of Fortune reverse, the Hermit reverse, and Judgment, I'm feeling like you're being so hard on yourself to the point where you're not able to enjoy the good things you do have in your life. Three of Wands in the upright is telling me that you do have a, excuse me, it's telling me that you do have a lot of beautiful things to be appreciative of. It's looking like you do have the opportunity to kind of celebrate the things. It's almost like reaping what you've sown, but in the good sense. Like, it's like you've kind of like, you process a lot of the negative aspects of the situation. You know, you've grown and you've healed, and now you're kind of in this space of, it's almost like there's like this sense of guilt, and you almost feel bad that you've gotten to a place of feeling so solid. And that's why you're kind of holding yourself. You're like, do I really deserve to have this, that, and the third when I have done this, that, and the third to this person? You know what I mean? Even if this can actually go vice versa too. So let's say this is somebody that you may be dealing with. They may be feeling like the reason they're not coming forward to you is because they feel bad for what they did, and they're not sure if they actually deserve you because of how much they hurt you or how things went down in the relationship. But essentially what I'm seeing is like, the energy is ripe for celebration. There's beautiful things to be celebrated here, but I think, you know, either you or this person needs to forgive yourself for what you did and realize that, you know, everybody makes mistakes. And just don't make the same mistakes again. Or, you know, I can't really stop what the Wheel of Fortune has for you there if you do make the same mistakes. But clarify these for you. Cut le deck. Okay, we have the Sea Kitten, we have the Ten of Pentacles reversed, and we have the Priest. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Sky King. So I think the main message coming through here. Well, to me, the Priest usually indicates higher spiritual lessons, higher spiritual learning. If you do see here the symbolism of this card, I do believe that is, I want to say that represents Isis on the orb. I mean, don't quote me on it, I really don't know, but it looks like the symbol of Isis is on this golden orb right here. And I do believe the golden orb represents, from a symbologic standpoint, the symbolism, excuse me, I'm just butchering that. The symbolism of the golden orb in this situation is essentially saying that you're mastering the higher lessons of this. You have mastered the higher lessons of this. You've seen the truth of the situation. But the King of Swords, which is the Sky King right here, is saying you need to stop. Okay, I'm getting two things. You need to stop being so hard on yourself, and you need to stop being so hard on somebody else. If they have learned the lesson and they're trying to come forward and they're trying to show you love, they're like, hey, like, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry for that. Like, you don't have to, like, take them back or anything, but if you're gonna, like, intentionally, like, bash them, like, no, like, fuck you, like, you did this and you hurt me, and, you know, maybe now's a good time to kind of leave that behind. It's okay to be angry about stuff, but if you continuously take it out on the person when they're actively trying to grow and learn, you know, you either need to, like, separate yourself from that person, or, you know, try not to hold them like under the microscope and like observe every little thing that they do and be like, oh no, can't do this, can't do that, can't do that. It's almost like not letting them be a human being and expecting them to be perfect and upheld to your expectations. But understand why do you have those expectations? Like the Ten of Pentacles in reverse is saying, like, why is the situation unfulfilling to you? Why do you feel like you shouldn't build with this person? Or if that's the case, look deeper into that, and why you don't have to build with this person. Understand the situation is trying to help you understand why you feel that sense of unease and kind of like disdain for love in general is actually what I'm being told. It's like you almost have this kind of penchant for like shutting everyone and anyone out that wants to start anew with you because all this up here in the past that may have happened, how you have been so hurt or how things just seem so terrible, given that they were more likely karmic lessons that you needed to learn. Kind of really mixed messages with this reading. I feel like we got a couple different stories here, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't, but that includes your section of the reading. I love you so much, Aquarius, and I wish you the best. I hope you have an amazing weekend. We will be moving on to to Pisces. Hello, Pisces. So last but not least, Pisces of part 2. Just keep in mind that this can apply to any aspect of your chart. If something does not resonate, do not force it. I do implore you to have your natal chart open while you do this. If you don't have a Piscean placement or you are a cross-watcher, you do have Pisces in the house. So this message can apply to you regardless. So again, use your intuition. We're going to see what Spirit has in store for you in love for the weekend of February 21st to the 23rd. Well, that was probably the first time I got that last part right, the 21st and 23rd. I keep mixing it up with the weekly reading. So, alright, what do we got here? We have the Queen of Wands reversed. We have the Empress reversed. King of Pentacles reversed. No, I'm sorry, not reversed. Upright. Excuse me if you just heard my stomach growl. Not being told to take that. Yeah, so I think right now, this is actually really interesting energy. So Spirit is telling me this is not necessarily a continuation of the message for Pisces from last week, but it can be a branched, it could be a branch of that, not necessarily a full continuation, but a very related message. And so last week what we got for Pisces, if I remember correctly, it was the energy of why are you settling? Don't settle if it's not making you fulfill. Don't stick around just because you want to take care of a person. This is essentially a similar energy. So the Empress in reverse, that's essentially telling me that you may be feeling like you're in a place where you're again having to sacrifice yourself. You're having to sacrifice your stability to cater to the ego of somebody else. I mean, we do have the King and the Queen, but they're not of the same element. So I wouldn't necessarily say this is a counterpart situation. It just really feels like a situation. It can be karmic in nature, honestly. I feel like any and all relationships can be karmic to some degree, but this is essentially telling me you need to stop catering to the same faults in somebody, and recognize that if somebody isn't changing, it's likely going to be a long time before they change. If they're not willing to change, you can't force people to change. I mean, if they're dwelling in their unhealthy behaviors, then you have to leave them to that and kind of learn to step away when it's time to step away. It doesn't mean you have to walk out for good unless you resonate with that. But I think the energy of these cards right now is you need to learn to take care of yourself. Make sure, not that you don't know how to, but make sure you take care of yourself before catering to somebody else. So let's clarify this. Yeah. We have Ace of Swords reversed, Good Kitty reversed, Nine of Pentacles reversed, and then we do have, I saw this, Death at the bottom of the deck. So what I'm being told is the only way for this to transform is for you to stop being delusional with yourself. Essentially, you got to end the delusions, right? You got to stop the codependency. I'm feeling like you're codependent on this person, and that can lead to the repetition of the same cycles you may be going through with this person, the cycles of codependency, of perhaps even emotional abuse, of just taking advantage of the care and the love that you give without receiving any in return. So I feel like the Ace of Swords in reverse with the Good Kitty is telling me that you're not necessarily seeing this person for who they are, and because you feel codependent on this relationship, it's almost like you're relying on this relationship for a certain amount of validation and emotional fulfillment. But because you're looking in the wrong place for that, it's kind of leading to this, it's just becoming unhealthy in the sense that because you're not seeing it clearly and because there's a sense of codependency there, that is enabling the situation to continue the way it's continuing. And so I think I'm going to pull one card for you again for some advice on how to move past that. Yeah, Six of Pentacles, Six of Cups in reverse. So you need to let go of the past, in the sense of you need to stop expecting the situation to return to what it used to be, because if things happen the way they did and things are changing, that just naturally is the course of relationships. That doesn't mean they can't improve, But that essentially means that you need to change the way you're going about this. You need to change the way you're framing this relationship in your own mind, because if you don't get that clear in your own mind, you're going to continue to interact with this person in a dynamic that is going to enable unhealthy dynamics and behavior, which can lead to toxic behavior. Everybody has the capability to be toxic, so also recognize how your place in this might be contributing to the toxicity as well, because it is never just one person that is contributing to aspects of the relationship. So it's a matter of like holding yourself accountable to what you're going to and not going to put up with, and vice versa. But that concludes your section of the reading. I love you so much, Pisces. Thank you so much for everybody that is tuned into the reading for this week, for this weekend, for this love reading. These are interesting readings. I do enjoy doing these. I get to get specific, and it is actually fun to kind of give a little bit more detailed and hopefully loving advice where I can. But that concludes the weekend love reading. I do have a weekly, I guess, forecast out for the week. I put it out on the 17th. So I will link. You can find that on my page, and I think there's going to be a card at the top. But yeah, thank you all so much. If you'd like to book a personal reading, send me an email to jazargoshepard@gmail.com, or you can find me on Instagram @jazargoshepard. I will leave the details in the description. But that does conclude the reading for this weekend. I love you all so much. Take care, and I hope you have a beautiful weekend. I will see you in the next reading. Bye-bye.